Hi, so I'm going to rapid fire answer a few questions right now since typing them all out is taking a lot of time and I want to be able to open my Ask box back up so I can get more of your questions. So the first one I have is from Anonymous. It says, "Hi, I recently did a candle spell to bless my mom, but on my way outside I dropped a candle and it cracked a bit. Then, while I was performing the spell, some pine needles fell on the candle and snuffed out the flame. You don't think this will have any negative effect on my mom, do you? Sorry if this seems silly, I'm just a bit worried." It doesn't seem silly. I would totally be wondering if I did something wrong if something like that happened to me too. But I don't think you did anything wrong. Um, I don't think anything bad will happen to your mom. I think if anything, you can just try it again or do an extra little protective spell just to make sure there isn't anything weird going on. Just because it is kind of a coincidence that the candle cracked and the pine needles fell. But short of that, I really don't think anything else is wrong, and I think you're good. Next one is from Anonymous. Do you know if there's anything I can use incense ashes for? Um, I don't know exactly what you can use them for, but I keep all of my ashes. I don't know, it's just one of those like internal things where I feel the need to keep any ash I use in any spell or anything like that. So I do recommend keeping them, get like a jar or something and just store them. Maybe something will come to you where you'll be like, oh yeah, I definitely need to use that. And if anyone else knows specific uses for incense ash, definitely comment on this video. This one is from Autocorrect Inspired, and it says, "I started using my lapis pendant to start pendulum readings, and it made me wonder if there was a good stone to use for readings. I know it's for clarity and awareness. It also has the protection charm written on it." Pendulum stones are one of those things where it's kind of personal. There are certain stones that are kind of like typical ones for pendulums to be made out of. Opal, um, that kind of thing, lapis. And for me, I felt that I connect more to opalite. And every witch will kind of like connect to certain stones more. Mine is opalite and amethyst, because amethyst is my birthstone, and it also just comes up a lot in my life, which is weird. But I definitely recommend you trying out different ones and seeing which one you really like connect with. Because, you can read as much as you want, but until you try it, you'll never really know if it works for you. The next one is from another anonymous. What kind of offerings will be good for gods or goddesses that are associated with night or the moon? I actually don't want to leave any out, so I'm going to link my post about ideal offerings for gods and goddesses in the description for this video. So I'm totally not ignoring your question, I just don't want to leave anything out offhand. Next one, is it anonymous? Is it possible to put a hex slash curse on yourself? I've never known anyone who did or wanted to put a hex or curse on themselves, but I feel like we definitely can, just like in everyday life, and I feel like we do without knowing it a lot of the time. Like, we put ourselves in these really bad moods, and, like, refuse to get ourselves out of those moods and stuff like that. I think if you tried enough, if you really wanted to curse yourself, you could, but I really don't think it's something you can do unintentionally. The next anon says, do you know of any good way to incorporate sewing into spell work? I actually had someone a few months ago, I think, who suggested sewing sigils into their sewing with either like kind of neutral colors that blended with the rest of it, or in the back of whatever they were working on. I'm sorry, I'm not crafty. I don't really know all the logistics, but I thought that was brilliant. I really thought that was a great idea. So if that's really the only way I know, but I think that's a really awesome way, short of just straight up sewing, spells and that kind of thing into your sewing work, like into pillows and stuff. I think sewing sigils in is really cool, and I wish I could do it. The next question is from another anonymous. Hi, I'm kind of a beginner witch, and I want to create and activate a sigil for a friend, and do some spells too, but I'm worried I may not be ready. Also, is it safe to cast spells / create sigils for other people? Thank you. So, sigil work to me is one of those like beginner basics where like you're kind of testing the water. That's a good thing to test it out with, just like pendulum readings. So creating sigils, you always want to have like some solid component to them. I like to use numerology in mine. And as long as you kind of really think out your sigil and charge it, which I know throws some people off. It's a little confusing for some people. It's like charging crystals or objects. You have to put your energy into it to give it any energy at all. And I do think you can make them for other people. I have definitely made some for specific purposes when a friend or family member was in need of one. And a lot of witches do it a lot. I know my boyfriend's sister, kid came up to her at school and like drew a sigil on her to like keep her safe. So it's definitely not uncommon to do them for someone else. This is from Bad Choices Made Easy. Hey there. I've been a spiritual person all my life, but have only recently allowed myself to embrace a Wiccan lifestyle. I'm very happy, but I've become worried of what people will say or think. My husband is on board, sharing most of my beliefs and wanting me to be happy with my life. But I'm nervous about how some of my other friends will react. Any tips or advice on how to gently come out of the pantry on this one? So this is something I dealt with a lot. I have a lot of very Christian friends. The respective mothers of my two godchildren are very, very religious, and the term witchcraft really freaks them out, as it does a lot of people. And a lot of that is because witchcraft gets a really bad rap, but we don't have to go into that right now. I think the easiest way, and what I do a lot, is to kind of say, hey, listen, like, I'm into this stuff, and it's a lot like modern metaphysics. Like, we work with natural herbs and like crystals and healing and our own energy, and it has roots in witchcraft. And that's kind of how I like to ease people into it, because it's very true. A lot of the modern metaphysics stuff that goes on is very similar to a lot of stuff that we do. So that's how I like to get into it. And then I also really like to show these people that are close to me, that are important in my life, how some of it works. Because I find that once they see it work, they don't really question it anymore. They're not really that opposed to it anymore. And part of that, some of that, is doing like tarot readings for them, or, charging something with good energy and having them keep it with them, or making them an herbal tea that can help with whatever they're dealing with, that kind of stuff. So, showing is definitely believing, and it's totally okay to ease people into it and kind of like half describe it while you're taking your time to eat them in. So my last question for this video is from another Anon. I want to practice everything, at least a little bit, in witchcraft, only with the gods and goddesses. I would like to worship them all, or most of them all. So I would be writing a song, as I do quite often, same, and so I would ask and offer something up to a creative god/goddess. Could I do that? You can absolutely do that. I'm not totally the best person to ask because I'm not a theistic witch. I don't really worship anything or anyone. But a lot of witches in the community worship more than one god. That's totally normal. And there are a lot of gods and goddesses for creativity and other things. And a lot of witches like to call upon their deities to help them in situations like that. It's totally normal. From what I hear, it works and it makes you feel great. It makes you feel cared for and watched over, which is wonderful. And I definitely think that's something you could try doing. I don't know about worshiping all of them because there are just so many, like, I don't know how you would even keep track. But I do think it would be very possible to worship a lot of them for what you need. And just make sure that while you're worshiping these gods and goddesses and deities and asking them for stuff, make sure to give back, because I see a lot of people like kind of just calling upon deities and then not really offering a lot back. Totally make sure to thank your deities, to respect them, to leave some offerings for them, that kind of thing. I think it's really important to show respect and to thank anything you use in your craft. Thank the herbs for growing. Thank the pendulums for working with you. Thank the cards for relaying messages to you. Just thank everything and know that without them working with you, there wouldn't be much you could do. There would be nowhere for your powers to go. So I think that's something really important that I'd like to get across. I know it's a little off topic. So those are the questions I've chosen to answer for this short video. And I'll do another one very soon, probably later this week. Bye guys.